I just remember waking up to him touching me. R. Kelly's daughter exposes shocking alleged family secret she didn't tell her mother until years later. Days after the U.S. Supreme Court shut down R. Kelly's appeal of his 20-year federal conviction on charges involving child pornography and his trapping of underage girls to have sex with him, the disgraced R&B singer's daughter has shared her own truth. Buku Abi, eldest daughter of the Age Ain't Nothing But a Number producer, and his ex-wife, Drea Kelly, born Joanne Kelly, came forward to reveal that her father molested her. The mother-daughter duo will be featured in a new docuseries titled R. Kelly's Karma, A Daughter's Journey, where Buku details how the convicted sex offender touched her inappropriately. In a clip from the first episode, the growing up says in a darkly lit room, "He was my everything. For a long time, I didn't even want to believe that it happened. I didn't know that even if he was a bad person, that he would do something to me," she continued, before adding, "I was too scared to tell anybody. I was too scared to tell my mom." When the Neighborhood Talk posted a clip from the documentary, fans were outraged and chimed in, disgusted that Kelly's crimes could have possibly extended to his own children. While many of the comments prayed for the daughter's healing, many questioned Drea's role in protecting her children from the sex predator, taking digs at her choice to keep R. Kelly's last name. Where was her mother? IDC, what nobody say their mamas be knowing, one person wrote. Another comment read, "To each its own, but if I was the mother, I would not be carrying his last name, especially if he touched our child. I don't give a damn what so-called opportunities come behind having the last name. It's not worth it if the last name tied to abuse and sexual abuse." Wow. And Andrea behind still singing his songs? Wow, someone else added. A fourth comment read, "They need to play this in the prison and let all the inmates see." When a number of remarks stated that they did not believe R. Kelly's daughter, one person said, "Only God knows the truth. And if it is true, not everyone feels comfortable speaking about their abuse until they feel the time is right. 100%, if it's not true, God will deal with it." While this is the first time that she publicly shared the news of this incest, People magazine reports that Buku did muster up the courage to tell her mother in 2009 when she was 10 years old and after the couple was divorced. The couple separated in 2005, with Drea filing for an order of protection and dissolved their marriage 4 years later, according to Essence. According to Buku Abi, Drea would later take her child to the police to file a complaint as Jane Doe. However, because she said the assault had happened a couple of years prior, law enforcement told the family that they couldn't prosecute him. As a result, the mother stopped visitation with her children to his home. I really feel like that 1 millisecond completely just changed my whole life and changed who I was as a person and changed the sparkle I had and the light I used to carry, Abby recalls. After I told my mom I didn't go over there anymore, my brother, Robert, and sister Ja, we didn't go over there anymore, and even up until now, I struggle with it a lot. Abby explained in the second episode that her father started touching her when she was 8 or 9 years old, claiming that she would be asleep in bed and wake up to the "I Believe I Can Fly" singer touching her. "I just remember waking up to him touching me. I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of laid there and I pretended to be asleep," she said in the documentary. Buku said she will never bring her son to visit his granddad in prison. During her sit-down with Osei the Dark Secret on the Culture Club Uncensored, Drea shared that she had not spoken to Kelly in about a decade. When asked how he was a dad, Drea was quick to say horrible, noting that the singer confused being a provider with being a father. In the interview, she alluded to the disconnect between him and the children as being his being too busy working to make time for them. Osei broached the conversation about the adult children's relationship with their father after his conviction, and the choreographer said, "I really don't know. They're adults now." "I have stepped away," she explained. "When Robert Jr. turned 18, I was like, whatever you decide from this point, if you want to call him, you don't have to get permission. If you want to go visit him in jail, you don't have to get my permission. You're a young adult. Now, that is up to you." The longtime dancer's opinion is that her relationship as Kelly's ex-wife is different than being one of his children, which allows her to separate from him much easier. They share DNA, she said. Drea, who maintains she keeps her ex-husband's name because of her children, has spoken out about her daughter's recent allegations in the documentary, saying she is proud of her daughter. To say I am proud of Joanne Ariel Kelly does no justice for your level of bravery and courage. Buku Abi, you're a voice for the voiceless, for those that are told you should be seen and not heard you speak. Drea wrote in the comment section of a post promoting the series, "Keep going and never look back, pretty face. Your sister and brother are your team captains, and I will be your cheerleader until my last breath. Because of you, I am a survivor. I owe my life to you. I love you with my whole heart." Kelly, however, through his legal team, has issued a statement to people denying the accusations. Mr. Kelly vehemently denies these allegations. His ex-wife made the same allegation years ago, and it was investigated by the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and was unfounded. And the filmmakers, whoever they are, did not reach out to Mr. Kelly or his team to even allow him to deny these hurtful claims. Attorney Jennifer Bonjean stated, Kelly is currently serving a total of 31 years in prison. A federal judge sentenced the Pied Piper of R&B to 20 years in prison for child pornography and luring minors for sex, including his 14-year-old goddaughter. Many of his crimes were exposed in the 6-part docuseries, Surviving R. Kelly, which revealed decades' worth of alleged sexual misconduct and abuse of underage girls and young women of color. The court ruled that all but 1 year of the prison sentence would be served at the concurrently with a previous 30-year sentence for racketeering and sex trafficking from his 2021 case in Brooklyn. The 2-episode R. Kelly's Karma, A Daughter's Journey can be viewed on the TVEI streaming network. Back in 2022, a grand jury found R. Kelly guilty on 6 of the 13 federal charges he was facing, which included 3 child pornography charges for sexually abusing 4 girls. 3 of whom were minors. They also found the Chicago native guilty of making videos of himself sexually assaulting his 14-year-old goddaughter, which resulted in another 3 charges for producing sex tapes with a minor. He was sentenced to 20 years behind bars by a Chicago judge. Kelly, however, scored a victory when the judge ruled that all but 1 year would be served concurrent to the 30-year sentence he's currently serving in New York on racketeering charges. Earlier this week, however, R. Kelly's appeal to overturn his sex crime convictions was officially denied by the Supreme Court. According to CNN, the Supreme Court declined to even hear the appeal on Monday, October 7th. The embattled singer submitted his petition back in July, arguing the fact that his crimes occurred decades ago, and the charges therefore fall outside the statute of limitations. Because Kelly was convicted for incidents dating back to the mid-1990s, the singer's team tried to argue that the PROTECT Act, which he was charged with violating, doesn't apply to his case since it didn't become a law until 2003. Despite prosecutors successfully arguing that the law's statute of limitations are indefinite. Kelly's attorney said that the Act's expanded statute of limitations doesn't apply to the charges against her client, as Congress didn't include a clause allowing the law to be applied to alleged conduct committed before 2003, only after. R. Kelly has been battling misconduct allegations since the 90s, but it wasn't until 2019 that the I Believe I Can Fly singer was placed behind bars to await a trial. Kelly's questionable behavior began in 1994 when, at the age of 27, he married a 15-year-old Aaliyah. In 1996, he was sued by Tiffany Hawkins, who dated Kelly when she was 15, and alleged personal injuries and emotional distress. In the early 2000s, the singer was sued by 3 more women, and in 2002, he was slapped with 21 counts of making child pornography, followed by 12 more charges and an arrest in Florida. Insufficient evidence resulted in his walking free, and it wasn't until a 2017 BuzzFeed feature alleged Kelly of running a sex cult that more women began to come forward. The Lifetime documentary Surviving R. Kelly followed, and Kelly was arrested in February 2019. He was charged with 10 counts of aggravated abuse against 4 women, including 3 minors, and was released on $100,000 bail. That July, Kelly was arrested again, except this time there would be no bail, after being charged with 18 counts of kidnapping, forced labor, child exploitation, and child pornography production and obstruction of justice. He was placed behind bars, where he remains. On July 11, 2019, R. Kelly was arrested while walking his dog in Chicago and slapped with a 13-count indictment, which, according to ABC News, included charges of exploitation of children, conspiracy to defraud the United States, coercion, and child pornography. He entered a plea of not guilty, but remained behind bars at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago to await his trial. Just a few weeks later, in August 2019, Kelly was brought into a courtroom by 3 U.S. Marshals with his hands clasped behind his back, per ABC News. Kelly was reportedly wearing blue prison scrubs and orange slip-on shoes with a white and blue striped sole, and sporting a thick beard as he faced another set of charges which were filed against him in Brooklyn Federal Court. This time, Kelly pled not guilty to 5 charges claiming he ran a venture of managers, drivers, assistants, and more, whose job wasn't just to promote his music, but also to procure women and girls for Kelly's illegal endeavors. Despite Kelly's plea, Magistrate Judge Stephen L. Tiscioni denied him bail and ordered the singer to be detained pending trial. On January 8, 2020, Kelly celebrated his 53rd birthday in jail. In August 2019, The Blast learned that R. Kelly's lawyers were petitioning for his release from solitary confinement. They claimed that the star was living in total isolation, not just in being denied access to social contact, but also in being denied adequate time outdoors. They added that he couldn't even buy snacks, even though other inmates were allowed to. All of these claims of unfair treatment were quickly shut down by prosecutors who stated in court filings published by The Blast, he has had a cellmate for quite some time despite his initial refusal. In fact, he has had more than one cellmate so far, they added. They also revealed that he'd had 7 social visits up to that point, as well as 3 purely social phone calls. While Kelly wasn't granted access to the outdoor rooftop, he nonetheless was able to enjoy indoor recreational activities 3 times a week. As for those snacks, prosecutors claimed that Kelly had indeed bought supplies for himself from the commissary, including snacks like Snickers bars. The court papers insisted MCC staff have taken steps to ensure the defendant's safety, and in doing so have treated him with dignity and respect. In August 2020, TMZ learned that R. Kelly was placed back in solitary confinement for his own safety following an attack that took place inside his cell. According to sources, Kelly was sitting on his bed when the inmate walked in and began punching him because he was mad that protests staged by the singer's supporters outside the MCC were causing the facility to go on lockdown. Kelly's lawyer, Steve Greenberg, wasted no time using the attack as a reason to ask for his client's release. We have not been provided any information from the jail, nor has Mr. Kelly called, he tweeted, adding, "Regardless, it is time to release Mr. Kelly. The government cannot ensure his safety, and they cannot give him his day in court," he argued. "We should not incarcerate people indefinitely because we cannot provide them with due process.